Hi friends, today we are talking about October anticipated releases. As we get towards the end of the year, things are kicking up a little bit. We've got October and November pretty decently big months, and then December there's nothing. So I think for next month I will combine November and December and wrap out the year. We're gonna kick off October releases with A Mouthful of Dust by Nghi. This is out on October 7th. This is book 6 in her Singing Hill cycle, which is a series of fantasy novellas featuring Cleric Chi, an Eastern Asian inspired, Chinese, Vietnamese inspired fantasy world, and we follow the trials and adventures of Cleric Chi. I really love this series. We are in novella number 6. 7 is already planned for 2026. That'll be on my 2026 anticipated when I do that in December. I love this series. It's a lot of fun and I think everybody should read it. Next, on October 14th, we have Extremity by Nicholas Binge. This is one where I have been interested in Nicholas Binge's books in the past, but I haven't read him yet. This one seems interesting, though maybe I need to read something before of his to see if I like his writing, because this could be towing the line of noir, which I don't really enjoy. So, but it still sounds interesting, and I'm just really loving speculative mysteries, sci-fi, especially sci-fi mysteries. So this is a time-traveling, end-of-the-world police procedural. Extremity is true detective if written by Philip K. Dick. That is quite the comparison. When once renowned police detective Julia Torgrimson is brought out of forced retirement to investigate the murder of Bruno Donaldson, a billionaire she worked with while undercover, she doesn't expect to find 2 bodies. Both are Bruno, identical down to the fingerprints, and both have been shot. Investigation, blah, blah, blah. So it sounds really interesting and I really want to give it a shot. I don't know that it is actually noir, but I'm gonna read it. I don't know why I'm vacillating on this. I'm gonna read it. I need to put it on my library hold. We're reading it for the end of the year. Next, also on October 14th, we have The Works of Vermin by Hiron Ennes. Hiron Ennes came out with their first novel, Leech, last year or the year before. It was pretty well received. Very weird from what I've heard, and this sounds just as weird. So this says, he was sent to kill a pest. Instead, he found a monster. Enter the decadent, deadly city of Tilliard, a metropolis carved into the stump of an ancient tree. In its canopy, the pampered elite warp minds with toxic perfume. In its roots, gangs of exterminators hunt a colossal worm with an appetite for beauty. In this complex, chaotic city, Guy Moulin has a simple goal: keep his sister out of debt. For her sake, he'll take on any job, no matter how vile, etc. That's so interesting and such a wild concept. So I'm way more interested in this concept and idea than I was in Leech. So this is definitely going to my library hold as soon as I'm done with this video, really. All right, then we're moving on to October 21st. We have Futility by Nuzo Onoh. This is one of those where the cover is fucking wild, and this is described as for readers of Oyunkan Braithwaite's My Sister the Serial Killer, which I really loved when I read it many years ago. So that's essentially what drew me in. This is a monstrous, gleeful, bitingly funny tale of murder, body swapping, and bloody vengeance. Chia runs one of the best restaurants in Abuja, Nigeria, and is renowned among the male clientele for her captivating beauty. She's every man's dream woman and delicious hot pepper soup. But her hot pepper soup has a secret ingredient, and her beauty is not what it seems. I'm gonna keep it there. I'm very curious. So yeah, I'm not sure about this one. I think this is one of the ones where I'm going to wait and see what reviews look like and then see if I'm interested. But it really got me with the comparison for people who liked My Sister the Serial Killer, which I really liked. So, and it just sounded really wild and wacky, so I am interested in this one. And then I think this is going to be a big anticipated one. This is Red City by Marie Lu, also out on October 14th. Now, for people who've been reading in the YA space for a very long time, Marie Lu is not an unknown name. She has been writing YA for probably about 15 years at this point. She wrote a lot of YA dystopian, YA sci-fi, she is well loved. So this is her adult fantasy debut. And I actually got an arc of this thanks to Tor Books and NetGalley. I got an arc of this to read it, and I ended up DNFing it. I am still keeping it here because I do want to highlight it because I was interested in it. I asked for the arc. I requested the arc because I'm interested. Essentially, where I'm falling with this is that, first of all, The main thing for me is that I thought I would give this a try, even though I know I don't like gang stories. I don't like mafia stories. I don't like organized crime stories. And this is one of those. It has two characters who are in opposite gangs, essentially. And this is kind of going to fall into like a formerly friends to rivals, probably to lovers story romance. And this is very much romantasy. It is kind of like a contemporary alternate history fantasy the world that we're in. I hesitate to call it urban fantasy, but I would call it contemporary fantasy in kind of like an alternate history version of our world, essentially. And I didn't vibe with it, but the thing is, for the people who are looking for this specific thing, it's going to work so well for that audience. This book just needs its audience to find it, and they're gonna love it. Like, this is not for me. I'm not the audience, but if this book finds its audience, they're gonna love it. Like, they're gonna absolutely love it. I DNF'd this about half of the way through because it's just not for me, but its audience is going to absolutely eat this up. Promise. Okay, next for big release for sci-fi lovers and for fantasy lovers, All That We See Are Seen by Ken Liu. This is a new series from him called the Julia Z series. This seems it's leaning more sci-fi cyberpunky from what I can tell. So let's see, it's a sci-fi thriller. Julia Z, a young woman who gained notoriety at 14 as the orphan hacker, is trying to live a life of digital obscurity in a Boston suburb. But when a lawyer named Piers, whose famous artist wife Ellie has been kidnapped by dangerous criminals, barges into her life, Julia decides to put the solitary life she has painstakingly created at risk, as she can't walk away from helping Piers and Ellie, nor step away from the challenge of this digital puzzle. Ellie is an Onirifex, a dream artist who can weave the dreams of an audience together through a shared virtual landscape, live, in a concert-like experience by tapping into each attendee's waking dream and providing an emotionally resonant and narrative experience. While their dreams are anonymous, Julie discovers that Ellie was also providing a one-on-one dream experience for the head of an international criminal enterprise, and he's demanding his dreams in return for Ellie. Unraveling the real and the unreal leads Julia on an adventure that takes her across the country and deep into the shadows of her psyche. Now, I am so interested in this, but also I don't know how much I'm going to enjoy this. So this is definitely one where I'm going to wait for reviews as much as I would love to like immediately devour a new Ken Liu book. There's some buzzwords in that I don't like dream stuff. Essentially, I don't like dream stuff, which is shocking because literally I'm obsessed with The Spear Cuts Through Water. But I am not a big fan of dream stuff, so I'm just gonna have to wait and see where reviews land on this to see how I am going to take it, how I'm gonna enjoy it, and then go from there. But I know this is gonna be a big release for Ken Liu fans, for sci-fi fans, so exciting one for October. Okay, on October 21st, we have Psychopomp Circumstance by Eden Royce. This is a Southern Gothic historical fantasy horror. Fee St. Margaret is a daughter of the Reconstruction, born to a family of free Black business owners in New Charleston. Coddled to within an inch of her life by a mother who refuses to let her daughter live a life other than the one she dictates, Fee yearns to demonstrate she's capable of more than simply marrying well. When word arrives that her Aunt Cleo, long estranged from the family, has passed away, Fee risks her mother's wrath to step up and accept the role of Pomp, the highly honored duty of planning the funeral service. Traveling alone to the town of Horizon and her aunt's unsettling home, Fee soon discovers that visions and shadows beckon from every reflective surface and that some secrets transcend the borders of life and death. Now, there's some buzzwords in there that give me pause, but this is also so interesting. Like, this concept is so interesting to me, but there are some, buzzwords that give me a little bit of pause. I am going to put a library hold on this. I'm going to wait and see what reviews are like. I'm so interested, but also a little wary, but so interested. So I'm really excited to see how this falls with readers. Also on October 1st, this one I'm kind of excited about, we have Slayers of Old by Jim C. Hines. This is essentially Buffy the Vampire Slayer meets Golden Girls is how it's described. A contemporary standalone fantasy about a group of former chosen ones coming out of retirement to save the world one last time. That's all I needed. That is all I needed for this. I'm so excited. I already have this on hold at my library. I'm very early on in my hold list. So I don't know. I freaking love Buffy. I just love this idea. So I'm so excited for this one. And last in October, on October 28th, we have Blood for the Undying Throne by Kim Sung-il. This is the second book in the Bleeding Empire, the first book of which I read last year and kind of enjoyed. This is a Korean fantasy series that is being translated from Korean. Now, the first book I thought had some very interesting ideas wrapped up in what felt like a very basic fantasy story. And I thought it was just like, it was a perfect book to give to readers who are dipping their toes into fantasy. I really think that that book was a perfect intro to fantasy, but there are still some ideas and concepts in that book, especially with the magic, that really gripped me and piqued my interest. I have an arc of this. I'm actually going to start reading it tonight, actually, because I got to get on that to get it read before the end of the month. This continues on from book 1, and I'm kind of just going to keep the synopsis away from trying to avoid spoilers for book 1, but essentially in book 1 we follow 3 characters in this world where magic is kind of run off the bodies of dead mages. They're kind of like batteries that power this kingdom, and we have 3 different stories of a girl who was raised to be a mage, someone who was working in like the political shadows, and someone who is kind of being raised up to be like a queen for like a rebellion. So very basic fantasy concepts in some ways, but also some really cool, interesting magic stuff. So I am actually quite excited to get into this one, and it's going to be a good way to wrap out October. Oh, one more I did want to mention. I forgot to add Queen Demon by Martha Wells. This is coming out on October 7th. I just didn't talk about it much because I still have not read Witch King, which is the first book. This is the sequel to Witch King by Martha Wells, but I still wanted to highlight it because I still want to read Witch King, and it's a Martha Wells coming out. So Queen Demon out in October. All right, that is what I'm anticipating in October. What I'm looking forward to, it's a pretty big month. November is going to be a pretty big month too. The end of the year is coming. We're ramping up a little bit on books. We tend to ramp up a little bit in October and November, especially before Christmas. And I don't know. There's so much I want to read. There's so much I got to read. I don't know what I'm going to do. Let me know what you think about these books. What are you anticipating? Have you heard of some of these books? If there's a book that I didn't mention, let me know. I would love to hear what you're anticipating. And that'll do it. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.